I don't like the fact that mediocrity gets rewarded sometimes in football. This is the biggest job in world football, in my view, Manchester United. I know that the Madrids and the Barcelonas and the Bayern Munichs of the world will contest that. But in my mind, the poster boy of the biggest league in world football, the Premier League, is Manchester United. And if you go to mediocrity, you're going to get mediocrity in return. So that's my bugbear with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I listened to some of the fans ringing in this morning, and one of them particularly talked about a long-term project. It's a long-term project. Let me tell you, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in charge, this is going to be a bloody long-term project. They'll finish writing the doomsday book before Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wins anything of merit with Manchester United.
You've got an agenda against him.
I don't. I have an agenda against mediocrity. I believe that to get excellence and to be rewarded in life for being excellent, you need to be excellent. You need to have the basis of it, the indications of it, and the track record for it. Now, the track record is a slightly hypocritical one because Frank Lampard has gone and got jobs with no track record. So I understand that argument doesn't stack up in certain areas. But this guy does have a track record. Cardiff and Mulder. And if Manchester United think that's the answer to their problems, it's not my business. It's only Manchester United fans' business. But by the same token, Manchester United are, in my view, the biggest club brand-wise and, iconography-wise in world football. And if they, this notion that they've had the best managers in the last 5 or 6 years that couldn't fix the problem. Well, Jose Mourinho did fix the problem to some extent. He did win the Europa League. He did win the League Cup. He did put them second in the league.
United fans couldn't stand him in the end.
But he did put them second in the league, and he fell out with the Manchester United board because he couldn't get the centre-half that he wanted, that they went and bought a year later. Right? So whilst they didn't like him, the rebuild of Manchester United back to being a team that people feared and people were conscious of was, to some extent, happening until the wheels fell off with Mourinho's disposition towards what he could and couldn't get.
But Simon, hang on a second here. You've got to show some restraint.
Restraint.
The manager of a club like Manchester United wants his players, you would think, to assume responsibility now and again. So
team reflects leadership. Team reflects leadership. Leaders make decisions, definite decisions. They're either right or they're wrong, and they live and die by them. Look, it's easy to take a swipe at this, but when you are in the box seat, you're in the biggest job in world football. You've been there for 2 years. You know how important the Champions League is. You know what a game this can be, and you know how challenging it is financially for the landscape. You look at the game and say, even from a football point of view, that is a football decision that natural leaders that know what to do make and take. It's no good saying, with the benefit of hindsight. The best guys don't need hindsight. They make decisions and they lead by example, and they're either accountable for them because they're right or they're accountable for them because they're wrong.
Fred's an international, an established international. He should know better, surely.
Well, of course he should know better.
The players should take the responsibility.
But that's why coaches are so revered, and that's why teams, of course, players should know better than to down tools, but they do. Players should know better to behave better when Mourinho was at Chelsea, but they didn't, and they all down tools there. And players should know better than to go on strike like Riyad Mahrez at Leicester, but they don't. It's up to the team leader, which is the manager, to set the blueprint for how the team plays.
If you were at the top of Manchester United this morning, Simon, what would you say to Solskjaer?
I would look. The difference between what I would say to them and Woodward says to them is kind of almost irrelevant because Woodward's in the box seat. I wouldn't have employed him in the first place because I think he represents mediocrity. I think he's a thoroughly decent football person. Manchester United don't need a thoroughly decent football person. They need an excellent football person that's capable of taking them to the next level. Now, you can ask the question who that may be, and you can say that the potential of Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho being two elite managers didn't work for them. Fine. I question that because they won things. But, of course, the Manchester United fans at that time had a different view of what Manchester United should look at and look like. We're now 2 years, not 2 minutes, not 20 games, 2 years into a tenure where he got a pass at the back end of last season, which has distorted the view of what Man United really are. They're a very average side with some very highly priced footballers that aren't performing at the level that Manchester United should be performing at.
So what should he do? If they're average, what should Ole do?
Well, I don't think he should.
You're calling him mediocre. You called him vanilla before that.
I don't think he should be doing anything besides getting his coat. My view is that it may well be a long-term project. Like I said rather flippantly at the beginning of this soliloquy, it will be a long-term project. It will be by the time they finish writing the Doomsday Book that Man United get to
where they should. What do you mean by the Doomsday Book? Where are they going?
Nowhere. Where are they going? You tell me where they're going. What is it that Manchester United are achieving? I think they'll beat Leipzig next week because the result.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah, but these are papering over cracks. These are moments in time. Are they really bridging the gap? That they win a game, people get off their backs, and then they win 2 or 3 games. Everyone thinks, oh, hang on a second, the ship's being righted. Next time they come up against some adversity, boom, they lose again. Now, of course, in this particular game, the argument's being run, Man United well in this game. They were losing 2-1. Right? I know that Fred being sent off doesn't help their cause, but that could have been avoided by definite leadership. And when you've got press conferences, I sit there watching politicians being beaten up by journalists, right? Journalists that half the time don't know what they're talking about. And I watched Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sitting there, blathering, mumbling, meandering around the conversation, rather than giving anybody, part of a football manager's job is the public face of the football club, to be able to give people confidence. You get confidence from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer?
There's Clive, one of the United fans. Many of you getting in touch this morning. I've supported United for over 50 years. Ole was never the right choice. Simon Jordan is right. He is mediocre at best. In any world, will it work for United under Solskjaer?
Depends what you consider working. Last year, getting into the top 4 was Manchester United's fans saying it's working. If that's Manchester United's fans' version of success, then good luck to them.
But as we head to a break...
No.
In any way can you be persuaded that Solskjaer's the right man for this job?
The purpose of a mind, if you can't change it, is silly, but I've been consistent with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I've seen nothing besides a few games at the back of last season to tell me this guy's going to catch Klopp, this guy's going to catch Guardiola, this guy's going to win anything meaningful besides maybe a League Cup.